Hi there, I'm back with part 2 of the tear bear tutorial, and I have dry pieces here. I have not actually waited for the other ones to dry. I just had ones that were already dry, but it is really important to make sure that you let the paper dry. If you start brushing at the tear bear pieces before they're dry, it's just going to completely fall apart and you're going to have to do it all over anyway. So I'm very impatient. I understand wanting to get started, but definitely let them dry. I know some people dry them with their heat gun. I've even heard of some people putting them in the microwave to dry. I would just let them naturally dry and just be patient. Alright, so for the next step, this is where you're going to need your brushes. This part can get dust in different places. It can be a little messy. One thing I like to do is I'll make them while I'm watching TV, and I'll put a big bath towel over my lap and kind of to the right of wherever I'm working. It's normally over the arm of the couch. And what that does is when the dust flies off of these pieces, the tear bear dust, it kind of collects on the towel. So I don't have to completely clean my whole living room when I'm done making the bears. So that's just a tip that I found that's worked for me. Alright, so now to assemble your bear, the first thing you're going to want to do is brush your pieces. Think of it like brushing a doll's hair. You're going to brush with your metal first, your metal brush first. And I always start on the back, actually. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes it's hard to tell which side is up when the pieces are actually dry. But you're just going to kind of brush the back. And I don't know if you can see in the video or not, but I already see like little dust flying everywhere. And I never make bears in this room. I always make them upstairs. So now I'm getting bear lint all over my stuff. But that's okay. I'll clean up later. And I'm sorry I did that without even saying anything. Once you've brushed the back for just a few seconds, flip over to the front, and this is where you're going to brush. Now, notice that I'm brushing in one direction. This is very important. But don't do this in circles. Don't go backwards. Brush in the direction you want the hair to go. If you start brushing in circles or brushing backwards, it's going to mess up the bear. It's going to pull the hair out and it's not going to be fluffy. It's just going to look flat. So brush in one direction. I'll kind of slow down a little so you can see what I'm doing, but after a while you can just kind of speed up a little. But brush in the direction you want the hair to go. So on this ear, you can see as I'm brushing, the hair is starting to go in that direction, and that's what you want. On the ears, we want the hair to be kind of out to make him look like a soft teddy bear. Okay, so you just brush, and yes, it does take time because each piece has to be brushed. Okay, so we've brushed one ear, and you're going to do the same thing with the other ear. You're going to brush the back side, and what this does is it just loosens the fibers on the back, and it helps show the fluff on the front. So now I'm going to turn over the front, and again in one direction. I'm starting from the middle and pulling outward. And something else I want you to notice, I'm not brushing the bottom because we're going to glue that to the head. If you know something's getting glued somewhere or you're not going to see it, there's no need to waste your time brushing it. These things are already time consuming enough. Okay, so now that we have our two ears, now I'm going to go over with my nylon brush, and I'm going to just kind of go over them one more time, and this just helps settle the hair into place. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside for now, and now I'm going to do the same process I just did with the ears. I'm going to do this with the head and with the paws. Now with the head and the paws, you're going to want to do the whole way around because you do see the whole thing. So I'm going to speed this part up, but I'm doing the exact same thing I just did with the ears. Okay, so there I have the pieces. One thing I just did was I ran my nylon brush over my work surface, and that just kind of picks up some of the loose dust that's around. What I'm going to do now is brush the muzzle, but before I switch over, I don't want to get all the brown hair on the white muzzle. So I just take my tool, and to clean your brush, you can just kind of poke in between the bristles and pull out any fluff that's there. This brush is very, very, very sharp. I have been cut many times. I have bled a couple of times because of this brush, so please be careful with it, especially when you're cleaning it. Okay, so again, I start with the back, and then I'll brush the front as soon as I'm done with this. After you've brushed all of your pieces, now you're going to want to ink them. If you've gotten a new ink or you've just put more re-inker in it, make sure you kind of stamp a little bit with it. See, mine was not just done, so you don't see a whole lot. But if you put re-inker on it and then immediately start to brush your bears, it saturates it way too much with ink. So you want your ink pad to look like that when you stamp it, because the Tear Bear paper soaks up a lot of the ink. And if you have too much on your ink pad, it's just going to make it look terrible. It's happened to me many times. So what I'm just doing is I'm holding the piece and I'm just applying the ink straight from the cat's eye. And you're going to do that with all of the brown pieces. Okay. Now once you've got your ink on there, just let it sit for a minute. Notice I did not do the white piece. Do not ink your muslin. The reason why I ink is because you want to show, you want definition between your pieces, and the white is already going to stand out because it's a different color. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that ink to set just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my eyes. So I'm just going to cut out one pair. When you first buy your patterns, a lot of patterns come with black eyes already in them. I just like the colored eyes. I just think they're really pretty, and they just give a little extra something to your bear. Okay. And you're going to need a nose. So I'll reach into my bag of a zillion noses and pull one out. Okay. So now I have everything, and I'm just going to glue it all together. I go back one more time and brush it with the nylon brush, and it just loosens some of the threads that have the ink on them, so it just looks more natural. One thing I want to point out, don't know if you're able to see this, but there's a part here where it's a little bit darker, right over here, and it's not brushing real well, and the reason why is because I got the glue a little bit too close to the edge. So that's something that can happen. Actually, it's right over here. If you get the glue too close to the edge, it just makes it kind of stiff and it doesn't brush, and the ink gets darker and it just looks kind of funky. So that's why you always have to be careful when you're putting the glue down. Now with the little, oh, I grabbed the wrong brush. I was wondering why I was scratching my mat. Alright, so when you get to the hands or the little paws, what I do is I kind of brush in a circle, almost like I'm swirling the hair. So I just kind of swirl them. Okay, and I'll set those to the side because I'm done with those. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to put some glue just on this piece of paper, and I'm going to dip the eyes in them. Normally I'm doing this on a lap, like a tape, what is it called? A lap desk. Thank you, it's called lap desk. And I just put the glue right on there, and I dip the eyes in it, and then I just scrape it off when I'm done. But I dip the eyes in it and apply it to the face. The reason why is if you put glue directly on here or put glue directly on the eye, you get way too much. I do put the eyes on first because if you put the muzzle on, then you can't always position the eyes where you want them to go. And there have been times where I've ripped the eyes off and had to re-glue them, and if that happens, that's okay. It'll come off and it'll be fine. Okay, so I've got my eyes set. Now here's the trick that I use on my muzzles. I put a little bit of glue. I actually take a foam square or pop dot or dimensional, whatever you like to call them. And I put that down. If you put the foam square directly on the paper, it will stick right now, but a couple days later it's going to start falling apart. So then I'm going to put more glue, and I'm going to apply it to the face. The pop dot just makes it just gives it a little extra definition. Right now it looks kind of funky because it doesn't have a nose or ears, but it just gives it a little definition. Okay. And then I will glue the nose. And I do glue the face and the muzzle and all that stuff on before I do the ears. The reason why is many times I glue the ears first, then I glue the face and it looks weird, so I rip the ears off and re-glue them. After dozens of times of doing that, I've just learned if I glue the face on, I can glue the ears on to where they just look better. So that's what we do. Now when you're ready to glue the ears on, just put a little strip of glue at the bottom of each ear. I hold up my bear and I put the one ear first, and I put the next ear, and I just kind of hold him at the bottom here and try to make his ears even and symmetrical. And I didn't really pick a good set of ears to use for this video because they're not really even, but you guys get the idea. So there's the bear. He still needs his eyelashes done. So we'll do that right now. Alright, so now to do his eyelashes, like I said, I use these Copic pens, but you can really use any black pen that you have. I would not recommend using like a regular ballpoint pen, some kind of jelly roll pen or a Copic pen or something like that, but I wouldn't recommend using a ballpoint pen. It's not going to work well. Alright, so I take my thicker black pen. I used to use a black jelly roll for this, but I lost it. So now I use a Copic one, and it works fine. But I did like the jelly roll one too. I just need to buy another one. And what I do is I outline the eyes first. Almost like he's wearing eyeliner. Or she. It's probably a she, especially if she's wearing eyeliner. Maybe not though. At any rate, my bear wears eyeliner, whether it's girl or boy. So I line the eyes, and then I take the small pen. You don't want to do this with the big pen, okay? You want to do this with the small pen. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, so I've outlined it, and right now it just looks kind of funky. But what I do now, you want to hold them down, and you just draw your eyelashes. Now I'm drawing mine kind of far apart. Think about it like of real mascara ladies. You build your mascara. So I do the same thing with eyelashes. I do a little bit at first, and then go back, and I fill in the spots. One thing I've learned is if you try to be too precise, it's not going to work out. You just got to kind of go for it. And with the thin Copic pen, it makes it really easy to create a nice look. I normally add a lot of eyelashes. It is personal preference, but I normally do a lot. So there, I've done the right eye. I'll go ahead and do the left eye. Again, just going over lightly in the beginning, and then going in and filling in so there, I'm happy with that. I'm going to give him a little line under his muzzle, and I'm almost set. Now here's what I use the white pen for. I go in and I make a little line on his nose, and I do a couple little dots on his eyes like he's got light shining in his eyes. And then you've got your little bear peeking over the top there. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I really hope that it's taught you something, whether it just be a little tip or how to make these guys. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to PM me or leave a comment, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you have about them. They're really fun to make. They are time consuming, but they turn out really cute. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.